What's your strategic marketing advice for lawn maintenance?
I bet you if I did an evaluation in most areas, you're not going to see all that many landscaping companies advertising heavily on. That might actually be a better cheat code than even Google Ads.
Well, if you were to start a lawn care business today, what would be your order of operations from website to Google Business Profile?
Start with, a website, even if you did a single page scroller. Do that work, take some great photos, post it on social, tag it. And then the low hanging fruit is
you're getting more and more of these 70 customers of yours to use CallRail. Can you share with me how that's helping their business?
It was bad. I mean, missing 30% of calls. CallRail obviously saw that there was a big need. They put out the AI voice assist, a major upgrade to your voicemail.
Super excited today to talk about marketing, maybe a little AI, and how we can really be making sure that we are optimizing our marketing. Our special guest today is up there, good old Columbus, Ohio area, Mike Stiers. Welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me, Paul.
Yeah, one thing that we have in common is we both like the Ohio State Buckeyes. I grew up in Ohio, so I like Ohio State too.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Lifelong Buckeye fan here. It was good to sneak the victory out from the team up north, Michigan, of course.
Oh yeah. So what's your prediction for the remainder of the season? In this podcast, I'm not sure what data will scheduled to come out, so it might come out after the season's over. So we'll see how accurate you are. But what are the Buckeyes going to be back-to-back national champions?
Yes, I think that we're going to repeat back-to-back. I don't think there's any doubts at this point. Indiana will probably be our biggest challenge, which they've really surprised me this year.
Well, you have about 70 customers that you're helping out with their marketing. So tell us a little bit about your business.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny because when I get into these discussions, it's always best for me to go in the Wayback Machine, just so they understand a little bit about me too. My origin story into the home service and home improvement space really started in 2013 when I went to work for the Basement Doctor in Columbus, Ohio. They specialize in foundation repair and waterproofing. At that point, I was a digital marketing specialist. They had a marketing and advertising budget that was well over 13%, and they weren't having much luck with Google ads or Facebook ads. So I joined their team and reworked some content, worked with their web company, and started running some digital ads for them and having great success. Ultimately, that led to a year later becoming the marketing director for the Basement Doctor, along with my business partner Ron Greenbaum at the agency, to really get in touch with other companies that he was working with as well. He owned a company called Nash Distribution, which manufactured and distributed products in that waterproofing and foundation repair space throughout the United States. So that led us to opportunities where we would speak at the conferences where they were training people on the in-home sales tactics with the products. I would give them DIY tactics on promoting their brand, lead response, different ways that they could build out case studies and get testimonials. And that led to people saying, hey, can you do what you're doing for the Basement Doctor for our companies as well? So fast forward to 2017, Ron and I formalized the agency, Greenbaum Stiers Strategic Marketing Group. And, fast forward again to today, where we've got over 70 businesses, really predominantly in the foundation repair and waterproofing space, but into interior, exterior remodeling, roofing. We do some HVAC. And then funny enough, on the landscaping side, we recently launched a local website called the Lawn Vikings. So just a little small mom and pop operation, but really nice folks and kind of bled into their brand. So it was fun to build.
Okay. And then out of those 70 customers, are they all over the United States or are they Ohio-based businesses?
They're all over the United States, and range from different industries within the home service and the home improvement space. So we really don't have too many within Ohio. When we started out the agency, we were full service across the board. We had this thought that, hey, we can be anything and everything to everybody. And it wasn't until we really niched down and followed that home service, home improvement trail that we really saw the agency take off for us. But we do work with a number of nonprofits, very passionate about that. It's been something that we put out, for our company to really focus on. Our employees enjoy that as well.
Okay. Now I know off air at the beginning when we were talking, you had mentioned that you're getting more and more of these 70 customers of yours to use CallRail, and I think 26 of your
Yes.
customers are using their voice assist feature. Can you share with me how that's helping their business?
Without a doubt. So a few years ago, we do a end of the year kind of recap where we're very analytics minded. So we're always looking for proof, in the marketing and advertising strategies that we're having success. We look at attribution, mixed marketing strategies, and along with that, about a year and a half ago, we really came into an issue with a few of our clients where we noticed they were missing these phone calls and form fills that were coming during business hours. And it was bad. I mean, like missing like 30% of calls. So you can imagine what happens. Obviously, the customer service reps say, hey, we're answering those calls and we're getting back to these people. We know that that's not the case, especially when you start to look at that data. So utilizing CallRail's platform, we were able to identify that, if we could get these folks down to a 10%, answer rate, or I'm sorry, a 90% answer rate where they're only missing, 10% of those phone calls, they could really get more booked jobs, and that turned into more revenue. And the awesome part of that is that CallRail obviously saw that there was a big need, and they put out the AI voice assist, and we kind of think of that as a major upgrade to your voicemail, where we've implemented now to 26 of our clients that have adopted it, where it's answering the phone calls that are overflow during business hours or even after hours. And the phone calls are still averaging, like 3.5 minutes. People are actually talking to the AI. The AI is prepping them rather than just getting a voicemail. They're letting them know about the company, the areas that they service, the services they provide, and then preparing them for a phone call back from a representative when they're available. And so we're seeing great success there. It's probably been one of the most exciting things that we've been able to implement for our clients that we have direct control over, because now we're seeing more of our marketing and advertising strategies also pay off.
Wow. So when you're in CallRail, what analysis or data are you looking at to see how those marketing strategies are giving you an ROI, or what tweaks you need to make? What data and info are you looking at within CallRail?
Sure. Within CallRail, we're looking at the unique callers. We're also looking at the reporting tools, and then we're looking at any of the like missed call rates, and those kind of send off the flags. The great part about the AI voice assist, and especially if you can get them to, upgrade even a little bit further into like their transcript analysis, it really gives you a feel and a synopsis of what happened in the call, whether it was positive or negative, the length of the phone call, anything that was mentioned in that. So now it's fast forwarding, obviously, for our clients that are in CallRail as well. And then we utilize a platform called Agency Analytics. And so for our agency, it allows for us to pull all of the platforms together. So we're looking at Facebook, Instagram, for some of our folks, LinkedIn, but obviously Google local service ads, standard Google ads. Then you can bring in your CallRail data and your GA4 from your analytics. And when we're looking at all of this data, we're able to see that, okay, through our marketing attribution, where we're getting the most opportunities, what their average call length is. And then at the beginning of each month, we do a recap with our clients where now we're looking beyond what we can see, and they're telling us, hey, this is what got scheduled. This is where we're seeing the best ROI. And we have shared spreadsheets that we utilize with each of our clients in Google. So within those shared Google Sheets, we've got KPIs for raw leads, appointments set, appointments run, what their bid rate is, their close, and the average ticket. So once we marry into what your advertising spend was, we're really able to see where we can get the best return on investments.
That's great. Whatever ended up happening at the basement doctor, were you able to turn things around for them, or
Oh,
how did that
yes.
go?
Turned into a great success story. It was already successful. They were just so heavy into traditional, and this is what, they were doing over $13 million a year just with their Columbus location. And they were just spending more than they needed to. And that was kind of what I was able to show them. And we ultimately They have now sold twice. So the first time was to one private equity firm, and then they bumped that up over 2 years, grew it, and then sold it again, which obviously is a great success story. But during the first changeover, we had gotten them down to a 4.5% marketing and advertising spend, and so that was in 2022. So pretty exciting when you can marry everything together. Obviously, with the basement doctor adopting 100% of the strategies and the tracking and marketing diversification certainly improves results.
That's good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What's your strategic marketing advice for lawn maintenance businesses? And in my audience, they do mowing,
Mhm.
edging, trimming, blowing, those type of basic lawn mowing services that are weekly or biweekly.
Absolutely. One of the greatest things I see, in the landscaping part, we have some folks that do hardscapes, but on the landscaping front, I feel that it's just so visual, and being able to show that, like, social media is such a fantastic place to be. It's incredible for targeting. If you're showing your before and afters, specifically video, because of the engagement, the cost of reach, setting up those in-stream lead forms, all of which is just incredible because it does both. It's a branding utility that increases awareness, and you can generate opportunities very good there. Google obviously is a great place as well, but everything starts with tracking, and that's why we always go back and we're like, man, CallRail gives us this backbone. It's first-party data tracking. We're able to connect it to the platforms, and then monitoring all of the attribution, and then feeding that back into each of those platforms to optimize is very helpful.
Okay. And can you walk us through with your 70 customers, like what does that kind of look like of when a customer starts working with you, and then how those early phases of how you help them with their strategic marketing, and then ongoing, like what does that look like to be one of those 70 customers?
For sure. So, I mean, we can start it out with, someone at maybe met at a conference, or, listened to our podcast or something like that. And then they end up coming through, they schedule a discovery call with one of our business growth strategists. We do not have a selling mentality. We have a, listening and learning, and then building a strategy that will help to accomplish goals, or overcome some of the challenges that a lot of the home service companies come to us with. So in that initial discovery call, we're going to ask for specific KPIs. We're going to, try to understand where you believe that you've had success. Maybe areas where you found certain things were challenging, whether that was answering the phone calls, getting back to the forms in less than 5 minutes, being able to get out and provide, bids. Who are you up against as far as competition? What's your service area look like? What's your current cost per lead? And from there, we'll begin to look at different strategies, based on competition, where we would suggest that you be involved in. There's typically a deep dive that goes into the website, since we feel that that's your hub where you should be driving all of your traffic to. Your Google business profile will also be evaluated. And each of our teams, we're full service. So I've got folks in each department that, work on social media, digital advertising, website optimization, search engine optimization. We have a media buyer. We do all the digital media as well. So we'll just identify areas of opportunity based on, what you're looking to accomplish, the size of your company, and the lowest hanging fruit.
That's so good. So how many team members do you guys have now?
So we're at 24.
Wow.
24 and growing. It's interesting. We got excited, leading up into like that 2020. I'm sure most people felt that changeover, but we definitely, as a marketing agency, felt that, and we downsized to about 18, and then slowly but surely we've been adding additional team members as necessary.
In those initial conversations where you're doing a deep dive on both the website and the Google business profile, what are some things that you're trying to identify and look at when you're looking at both Google business profile and the website?
For sure. We'll start with the Google business profile. And it's the same thing when we look at Bing Places or even Apple Maps, all of which are incredibly essential, specifically because people are searching differently on their devices, and they might not necessarily make it to your website. So when we're looking at each of those local business profiles, we're ensuring that you've got the appropriate service geography in place. So, we're verifying with you, hey, these are the areas you service. Yes. Okay, great. Ensuring that you've got those and you're not missing opportunities. We're looking at any of the photography that you've put in place. Typically we ask that you're showing pictures of your team, pictures of your work, pictures of your truck, all of which is familiarity, and it just helps with branding. We look at your business hours. The great thing about the AI, voice assist with CallRail is that for some of our clients, we're experimenting with 24 hours, and that's starting to push them up in the map pack. It pushes them up in the local service ads because they have increased availability, and now those calls are being answered. So, and that's something I wouldn't suggest for everyone. I think that it's on a business by business, example. But then outside of that, we look at the URL that's tied into your local business profile to ensure that your site's getting full credit. You want it to have the HTTPS, which is a security feature. A lot of folks, we find if they haven't paid much attention to their local service business profile, that they haven't actually updated that. Obviously, the telephone number is a major component to that. And then just looking at the reviews, what kind of company are we dealing with? What are people saying about them? Are they responding to the reviews appropriately? And then from there, once we move off of the business profiles, we look at the website, and our web team dives in and they look at it from a totally different angle. In our web development, we've got our web development, we've got website optimization, and website designers. So you've got your front end that wants to make sure it looks nice and that it navigates appropriately. We call that conversion rate optimization. Then the next piece is that we look at your content. So that would be like our SEO team. They're ensuring that you're talking about the areas that you service, the services that you provide, talking with authority, things that are unique to you, looking for customer testimonials. And then that next piece is, what's your page load speed? Is your site updated or is it out of date? Are there errors? Are there broken images, broken links? I mean, they do a full evaluation with like 3 different platform utilities. But it gives us a good look into the visibility, before you get into the next conversation of like, well, how are you managing your lead generation and even the leads that are coming into your company?
So good. I like the name of your podcast, Contractor's Edge. That's epic.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we were tossing around a bunch of different ideas, and really that was the one that stuck with us because we didn't want to be too boxed in, but we wanted to be kind of obvious, what we do.
Mhm. That's so good. Well, if you were to start a lawn care business today and you had, somewhat of a limited budget, what would be your order of operations from website to Google Business Profile to whatever ads you would decide to run, social media profiles you would build out? Like how would you kind of piece that together as you're building a lawn care business for the strategic marketing? This is a
Sure.
newer business.
Yeah, yeah. If it was a newer business and I knew that they were limited, I would have to say that the thought process and investment would certainly be on a lot of awareness. So kind of like what I had mentioned, with Facebook, I would look at that twofold. So we would start with a website, even if you did a single page scroller, just ensuring that you've got all the information on there, good photography, clarity into the services you provide and the service area, easy to communicate with you either through phone call or through form fill. We carry that, hopefully a memorable brand. If we were involved in that, we've got a great graphic design team. My art director is just outstanding. They love a good creative challenge. You can see that in the Lawn Vikings. If you check out that website, their little icon that they created looks like their owner. So it's a lot of fun things that they like to do, but I would carry that over into the Google Business Profile. And then I would prioritize probably Facebook and Google in really a twofold way. So I would look at Facebook and probably do a page like campaign, maybe $5 a day through maybe a targeted area where we knew that there was opportunity, and then put some boosted posts out showing the team in action. If you're out there transforming spaces. Some of my favorite videos right now on social media are actually the guys that go out and find the biggest challenges, and then they just transform these properties for free. And I think that that kind of shows what you can do. So I get excited about that because that's a great opportunity to kind of just do the pebble in the pond approach, where you're making this great content, you're putting it out there. It didn't take you much to develop it. Now you put a small, boost, maybe $10 a day for $7 a day, or I'm sorry, $10 a day for 7 days. And now that investment is targeting these homeowners within a specific geography that would have interest in your services. So now you get that whole ripple effect. You get the engagement on your boosted post. You can invite those people to follow your page, and ultimately you're building a bigger organic following with the opportunity to get some business from that. Early on, we always talk to clients, make sure that you've got good leave behinds, whether it be a door hanger or, maybe like a little trifold. Getting out, boots on the ground. If you're working in a specific area and you have a few lawns that you're doing, do that work, take some great photos, post it on social, tag it. And then the low hanging fruit is really Google and Microsoft. These days, I bet you if I did an evaluation in most areas, you're not going to see all that many landscaping companies that are advertising heavily on Microsoft, but this is an older demographic that you would want to target, and they have the money for your services. So that might actually be a better cheat code than even Google Ads at the early start.
That's so good. Mike, I'm curious your thoughts on AI. I know we've talked about voice assist, which is definitely cutting edge. Is there any other ways that your strategic marketing group is seeing ways that AI is helping with marketing?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the constant evolution, and, if you were watching the games this weekend, football games, Google is investing heavily in their advertising, and they're trying to help people understand how effective the AI mode can be. So, when you go to a standard search in Google, it was always simple, 1 to 5 words maybe to get the results that you were after. And now it's a full engaged conversation. And so you can start with your problem and work all the way down to what contractors or businesses are available in your area. That's where we're seeing the advancements in AI. And, I think that Google's continuing to evolve this. Obviously, Microsoft, OpenAI with ChatGPT, Google's Gemini. There are so many different ways that we see AI evolving. We utilize AI in a lot of our tracking and reporting features. It helps us analyze data and specifically visualize it. So, on our side, we're able to, and obviously, your listeners can do this as well. You can go into Gemini, and as long as you've got an Excel spreadsheet that shows what you spent, your leads, your appointments, your bids, your closes, what your recurring revenue is, you can actually visualize this and begin to see, okay, where am I seeing these different cyclical trends, or what opportunities do I have? And you can break it out by service type. And, I tell my team all the time, AI made me really smarter. It gave me almost like the easy way to see so many opportunities that I didn't realize were present. And so we do implement AI, throughout our organization.
That's so good. I'm curious, Mike, you're a small business owner, 24 employees, you had mentioned, and so many, well, pretty much everyone listening is a small business owner running a lawn care business. Our greatest challenge in the lawn care industry is finding labor and keeping them motivated to continue to show up for work. So what kind of leadership tips can you share with us that you're leading a team of 24 human beings that are all
Mhm.
unique and different? What have you kind of learned as you've grown this business since 2017 to get your tribe, excited to come to work and things of that nature?
Sure. No, that's a great question. Yeah, it's interesting for our side. Ron Greenbaum, my business partner at the agency, he is retired, and obviously a fantastic supporter of our business. Periodically, drops in when he's up in Ohio, or we'll have him visit in Zoom. But our team is throughout the United States, and we actually have one of our developers overseas that I've worked with since 2013. So I kind of like brought him into the fold. But we focus so heavily on our culture and communication. I would suggest that businesses do the same. At this point, you have to understand that your team means everything to you. And for us, it's communication, it's flexibility, it's clarity. For the business owners out there, one of the big things that we've been sharing at the conferences, make sure that the job descriptions are clear, for your employees. And contractors are always like, what do I need a job description for, my landscapers? You need clarity. They need to understand why they're getting paid. We were just at this conference in Indianapolis, and Dave Bainey was there, and he was talking about the 3x5 index card. And for you to understand, these are the elements that you're responsible for, and this is how you get paid. So when there's clarity and people understand, oh, this is what I need to focus on so that I can get paid, obviously that works its way back up to the company. And then from there, that you have different ways that you can celebrate, great achievements. We suggest a lot of pay for performance as well. And I think that when there's clarity and there's established KPIs, you can reward people for performing beyond what was required from them.
Was there anything we're leaving out here that needs addressed, or that you like to share with lawn care business owners about their marketing?
I think the biggest piece is just be authentic. It's often we get into these conversations and everyone always wants to be like their competitor. But, when you think about your own brand, it's like a fingerprint and it's unique to you. So if you lean into that, and some people have really quirky brands, some people have very sophisticated brands, some people are very relaxed in their communication. And so as long as you're being authentic and you're being yourself, and then all of your, like you were saying, your tribe. So the people that are joining your team that believe in you and they're motivated and you're establishing that culture, being authentic is what's going to, really help your team drive. You're going to be able to, set those goals and celebrate together. That's like our biggest thing. And we tell all of our clients, do the same thing. Be clear with your team, make sure that you're communicating well, celebrating those victories, and then ensuring that you're planning. That's the piece that's often lost. The last few episodes that we've done in the podcast have been like, what's working in 2025? What are contractors doing wrong? And trying to help them to be aware what platforms are working right now, what ones are having their challenges, what are some mistakes that we're seeing contractors doing on a pretty regular basis. And, with over 70, and then we also have a lot of industry affiliates that we communicate with as well. You get a good idea of, okay, this is your low-hanging fruit. This is something that's going to be, maybe a year off from now. But as long as you've got it on your radar and you're planning, it's something that's certainly achievable.
Okay, you mentioned what platforms are working now. I'm curious what the answer is.
Yeah, it depends on what the business is. For us, we're definitely seeing local service ads through Google be very good, as long as you are listening to each phone call and then scoring those appropriately. So if you're using LSAs, without actually going in and scoring those, you're not giving feedback to the algorithm and it can't improve. And Google's inserting all sorts of AI into this now. So essentially what we always say is, if you're getting leads for a service that you're not listed under, then you actually need to be very clear and give that information back. And you'll see that the quality in those local service ads begin to improve. Google standard ads, still very good. I'm always leery of Performance Max and AI Max, Demand Gen. I know that those are essential, but if you're talking about a smaller organization, standard search ads still work very well. And I'm a huge fan of Facebook. Instagram's pretty cool as long as you've got video content that you're putting out on a regular basis. But Facebook is likely where your ideal demographic is that you want to do business with, and that's where we focus too.
Yeah, I agree 100% on Facebook. That's for our industry.
Yep, it's massive.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, how can people listen to your podcast, get a hold of you? Let us know how we can connect with you.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate it. We've got our agency, Stiers Strategic Marketing Group. So you can go to greenbaumstiers.com, or, if you'd like to listen to, the Contractor's Edge, that URL is yourcontractorsedge.com. And you can find me on LinkedIn. So Michael Stiers is how I'm there. And I'd love to connect with you. Discovery call is always free with myself or our team.
All right, Mike. Well, I really appreciate your time, and we'll put all your information in the show notes there. And thank you for sharing your expertise with us.
Fantastic. Paul, thank you very much for having me on.